decided in the favor of BJP. So this is one issue. The second one, it was almost certain that BJP is going to have or BJP is going to catapult the present dispensation. It was almost a certainty, but it will get majority mark on its own. There was some kind of uncertainty also. So, in this backdrop, in this Prishtabhumi, uh, how to understand the electoral verdict of Odisha? So, I request Professor S.K. Satpathy to kindly have your pronouncement before all of us so that we could know all about the nuances and all the political landscape meaning of Odisha. Till now, uh, we are not very much familiar, but on this web munch of CSSP, we have for the first time we are talking about Odisha. So, Professor S.K. Satpathy, you are most welcome on the CSSP and kindly start your session now, sir. Please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon to you all. So it's also my pleasure to speak before you, though Barmaji and I both were associated with Lokniti for such a long time. So we knew each other very closely. And so when, and of course, it is my area of also interest to study about electoral politics for quite some time. I was involved in all these things. But at the same time, I was, in fact, away for 35 years, I was there in Northeast. So initially, I was a bit hesitant when I came back to Odisha but and I for the last 3-4 years, I closely tried to understand the politics of Odisha and that too electoral politics when for the first time I am uh, closely watching the politics of Odisha and also from sorry the ground reality. At least I get the opportunity to see the ground reality, how it works, and what were the nuances of this electoral politics in Odisha. So that was there. And having said so, so please, how much time I am allowed to speak,
Yes.
or how much time I'll take? Please can.
I think you
Uh,
can take 1 hour and 30 minutes we will have for discussion. So
Okay.
that's the framework.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, in fact, let me tell you at the outset that perhaps from my understanding and in my experience is an Indian voter and also is a student of electoral politics. I think this was perhaps the most satisfying election while seeing this Odisha politics as well as the national politics. Satisfying for few reasons. So first thing that I found that at least Indian voters, they acted in a most matured way, and matured way in the sense that if you think about Indian politics, definitely we wanted that at least, yes, Modi should come for the third tenure. There is because there is no good alternative, at least for Modi. That is one. Second thing, the opposition also, because previously BJP government had virtually ignored the opposition because of their numerical strength. So now at least there will be a very viable and very forceful opposition also. So which will make democracy more vibrant. And the third thing is that because of the numerical strength of BJP and because of the coalition between BJP and some of its alliance partner, and primarily that Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu. So that dominance, because Modi in the last 10 years, uh, he acted in a different way because they had the absolute majority. But this time, he has to depend upon his alliance partners, and he cannot afford to dismiss or he cannot afford to ignore or he has to accommodate their aspirations and demands also. So that is there. And so far the Odisha is concerned, the most satisfying result is like this, because after 24 years, see, as a student of political science, so if any political party, if it remains in power for such a long time, naturally there will be complacency. There will be some sort of authoritarian tendency. All these things is bound to crop up. And that happened also in Odisha's case. So now at least so Odisha voters, they thought it otherwise. So that's why they are. So you can call it anti-incumbency, or you can say that yes, people, they wanted an alternative, and they found the BJP as the most suitable alternative. That is one thing. Second thing, in Odisha, for the first time, we found that in spite of all advantages of BJD, they had money power. That I will explain afterward. They had money power. They had also absolute control over the media as well as social media. Entire administration was at their disposal. And as you know, that many officers, they were shifted away because of their involvement in election process. They are partisan, they are biased. Senior bureaucrats, even police officials, so they were shunted out. So because of that advantage, also administration was also there with them. And in spite of that, and another big advantage was that BJD has a strong grassroots organization. No other political party in Odisha has so strong, deep-rooted infrastructure, grassroots infrastructure in the state, what BJD has. So, in spite of all these advantages, people of Odisha, they rejected BJD after 24 years of rule. It was beyond uh, the prediction of any political scientist, or you can say that doctors, even politicians. Because the whole day I was there with a regional TV channel, and there were leaders in the beginning, they completely dismissed my argument that BJD is not going to get it. They may get majority, but they are not going to get this much of. So they, with all confidence, they argued with me that you see, it last time it was 113 seats, and definitely it will be much more than that. So this time, even the psephologists and pollsters, all of them, they spoke in favor of, just like India. So all pollsters, they gave BJP more than 300 seats. Similarly, in Odisha also, no one had predicted that they will get less than the majority. No one. So all were proved wrong, keeping in view of the fact that, so these people, they perhaps couldn't understand the pulse of the people correctly. So that is one thing. Second thing is that I'll say that generally, if you think about the political culture of Odisha, here people are not very aggressive like general voters or general public. They're not that aggressive like West Bengal voters. West there because this radicalism you will not find in Odisha, like supposing West Bengal. Pre-poll violence, violence during the even elections or even post-poll violence, all these things are very common in West Bengal. Unlike that, you will not find generally to that extent in Odisha. So from that point of view, it was a silent revolution in Odisha. Silent revolution in the sense that people simply they I'll say that ditched the party which provided everything to them. You will be surprised to know in Odisha more than hundreds of schemes are there. More than hundreds of schemes are there launched by the BJP government during their rule. Starting from the pregnant women till going to this funeral ground, all the schemes are there. Some schemes which are funded by the center, but that has been hijacked by the state government, or even some of the schemes even they are launched by the state government. And no section of the society is left out. No section. And especially if you think about women self-help group, that Mission Shakti, which was created generally by the BJP government, and Mr. Pandian's wife, she was heading that organization, and the amount of money which was put there in that department, people they were thinking that perhaps all the women, at least voters, they will cast their vote in favor of BJP. So, and similarly the case with youths. You will be surprised to know that before election, last 2-3 months in schools and colleges, in the name of culture, no classes were held. Every day, 2-3 months, different cultural programs were there in all the schools and colleges. And different types of activities, culture, and money was also pumped to each and every college. Money was pumped like anything. So, and different leaders generally they will come, they will address, they will speak about the achievement of this government. Everything was there. So, no one expected that BJD will not come to power after spending. And not only that, let me tell you, for the first time in Odisha, one individual became an electoral issue. One individual, because in my lifetime, at least I had never seen, not only in Odisha, but in other parts of the country also, I have just watched election very closely. I had never understood that one individual becomes an election issue. And not only that, almost all political parties, they try to harp on that. That is actually Mr. Pandian, who is the principal. He was principal secretary to the chief minister. Subsequently, he became he resigned from IS, so he became that BJD member, and also he became that 5T chairperson. So 5T actually this was the department which was created by the state government, and if you look into the regional papers or even national papers which are being produced from Odisha, you will find that each and every page there will be advertisement by 5T. As if in Odisha there is only one department which is functioning, that is 5T only, which is headed by each and every program that was done by this 5T. And not only that, another important thing, because all policy decisions of the government that is being announced by, instead of ministers, all secretaries and bureaucrats only, they announce policy decisions. So politicians or especially ministers, they don't come to the picture at all. So they simply, and not only that, wherever Mr. Pandian goes for any rally or for any meeting, so that all the ministers, they try to arrange all the for the meeting, even where from audience will be coming, how this pandal will be constructed. Everything actually was done by these ministers, and Pandian was the only one person. At the time of election, also campaigning, Naveen Patnaik, the chief minister, the face of BJD, only face of BJD, for such a long time, he never goes alone to any election meeting. He is always accompanied by Mr. Pandian. And as you know that Naveen Patnaik speaks very less. Maybe 3, 4, 5 sentences only he will speak. And the rest of that thing, Mr. Pandian will take care of. Mr. Pandian actually, he was, let me tell you in brief about him. So he was IAS. He is from Tamil Nadu. So he was studying there in Odisha, OUAT, that in engineering, this thing, college. Then he got IAS, and also he chose Odisha cadre. He married also one Odia lady here, who also happened to be IAS officer. So after that, he tried to settle. He became collector, and he did. And he is the person who manages the state administration, BJD political party, while he was IAS officer also, and administration, government, politics, party, everything was being managed by him only. And this thing became more prominent only in last 5 years. Before that, somehow or other, he was not coming to the forefront to that extent. But this 5 years, and especially if you think about last 1 year, he was the only person who was on the forefront of BJD. And another thing I want to tell you, Naveen Patnaik, who happened to be the son of Biju Patnaik, who was a Odia chauvinist. Naveen Patnaik doesn't know Odia. He can't speak Odia, only barring very few sentences. And people generally, they used to mock, there are a lot of jokes about his Odia pronunciation in social media, and in all the things also you'll find. So from that point of view, he can't speak Odia at all. And he didn't want perhaps to learn, otherwise 24, if Sonia Gandhi coming from Italy could speak Hindi, so it was not that difficult a language, so which Naveen Patnaik could not learn in 24 years. So this was the background that I'm telling you. So against these backdrops, election was fought. Development was no doubt an issue. All these, and the manifesto generally, the usual manifesto, there was nothing unique, there was nothing very special in these all political parties when they published their this thing, the manifesto. So these issues, development will be there. So these things were there. But for the first time, BJP tried to rake up also these local issues in Odisha. Like, for example, Lord Jagannath, generally people of Odisha, they have great weakness for Lord Jagannath. And he was brought to he was dragged into politics. All political parties, they use the name of Lord Jagannath, and they tried at least to take political mileage for that. And if you remember it correctly, that when in Ram Janmabhoomi, that when this Pran Pratishtha was going on, just 2 or 3 days before, 2 or 3 days before, I think, in Jagannath temple, that parikrama, that surrounding actually that was being inaugurated by Naveen Patnaik along with Mr. Pandyan. So he was also just they wanted to um, counter the influence of BJP. So because of that, they also tried to do that. And in Odisha generally, uh, caste and community or communalism, they are not very prominent. They are not, they never at least are the determining factor in Odisha politics. So that's why it's you can't simply say that this caste or this community they are in a advantageous position or in disadvantageous position, that you cannot say. And Mr. Naveen Patnaik, in the beginning of his career, if you read his biography also, he was having this left to the center ideology. That's why he had soft corner also for the poor and all these things. That's why he always boasts that I have done enough generally for the poor people in Odisha. So in the midst of all these things, elections were fought. But as I told you, towards the last, so pre-poll, regarding the pre-poll alliance, there was a very strong indication that there will be pre-poll alliance between this BJD and BJP. And BJD was more eager for that pre-poll alliance because of the fact that, if you remember it correctly, in Parliament, BJD on all important issues has supported BJP. And not only that, the personal rapport of Mr. Pandyan and that Naveen Patnaik also with BJP leaders, they're very good. So that's why there was very strong indication that there will be pre-poll alliance. But this was sabotaged by the BJP's local leadership here, and which was rightly understood by the national leaders of BJP. The reason was that because BJP had so many aspirants, political ticket for ticket, there were so many aspirants were there. And second important thing is that if supposing there will be pre-poll alliance, BJD will try to take major lion's share in Vidhan Sabha, and BJP will get lion's share in Lok Sabha. That was the tacit understanding in the beginning. And if supposing more tickets will go to BJD in in Vidhan Sabha election, assembly elections, so obviously there will be more frustration on the part of these local aspirants. So they will jump to other political parties, which will do damage to the electoral prospect of BJP. That was the hindrance. Second indication is that obstacle was that, personally speaking, the leaders, important leaders of BJP here in Odisha, they are not in good term with BJD leaders. If you can think about the state BJP president here, or Bajant Panda, or even important leaders like supposing Bhartrihari Mahtab, who will be this pro tem speaker, all these people, they are against Mr. Pandyan. So they could not pull well. So they also tried to put pressure on the local leadership to impress upon the national leaders that BJD, we do not want at least any alliance with BJD. So ultimately at the last moment was there, and there were rumors that there will be some sort of tacit understanding. It will be a friendly match between BJD and BJP. But last 1 month, we could see that that is not the fact. Even they both the political parties, they fought tooth and nail. And not only that, another hindrance was that in case supposing there will be pre-poll alliance between BJD and BJP, Congress will be the biggest beneficiary. Congress will be the biggest beneficiary because many people, they don't want BJP. That's why they are going to BJD. Or some people, they don't like BJD, they want to vote for BJP. But if there will be alliance, because of that alliance only, their anger actually will be vented in the form of casting their vote in support of Congress. In that way, Congress will be the biggest beneficiary. That was the calculation. So, keeping all these things into consideration, BJP thought to go to the polls alone, and they went also, and that was the pre-poll understanding. And last 1 month, election is another thing. Just I want to tell regarding pre-poll, the jumping party, I used to call it as kangaroo jumps. These leaders, they jumped from one party to the other party. I think this is the biggest in the history of Odisha. Yes, before every political, one reason is that at the same time, that Lok Sabha and Assembly elections are going on. That is one of the reasons. But in the past, never in the history of electoral politics of Odisha, these leaders, they jumped from one party to other party to such an extent. And third reason is that previously, in previous elections, whenever there was shifting party loyalty was there, then mostly from other political parties, people were jumping to BJD because they had the advantage. But this time, equally, BJD and BJD people were jumping to or shifting their party allegiance to BJP, and BJP also leaders, they are coming to BJD. It was not one-sided like previous occasions. And such a large, you cannot imagine that even important leaders, very prominent leaders, like supposing two BJP vice presidents. So they jumped from BJP to BJD in order to contest from BJD ticket because their aspirations could not be accommodated there in the party. So these are some of the things which were very, you can say that prominent. So with that, when elections were fought, only one, this was actually one man show, or you can say that one army election campaign from BJD. They pumped so much of money because wherever Mr. Pandian had gone to, he has visited almost every nook and corner of the state. And wherever he has gone, he has given money to different temples, to different clubs, different organizations in terms of lakhs only. So much of money which was spent. So it was believed that perhaps that became one of the reasons for the defeat of BJD, because they were overconfident and very complacent. After spending so much of money and after having such a strong grassroots infrastructure and controlling virtually the media, except these two TV channels, almost all TV channels, they are scared even to open up their mouth freely. So from all these things, it was believed that perhaps BJD will again come for the sixth. And let me tell you, yes, Modi wave did not, yes, it has some impact, no doubt, but not to that extent like in other parts of the country, because he has come perhaps maximum number of times in this election. But even previously also he was coming, but people generally, and it's not that it is because of the positive campaigning of BJP, they could win. Rather, it was the people's anger against the party and one individual that was the determining factor for BJP's coming to power. One advantage which BJD could not at least capitalize was that like supposing BJP doesn't like, usually they don't do this. There was no chief ministerial face in Odisha. Naveen Patnaik versus whom? People, they were not even informed that so X, Y, or Z, they will be there, so that people will have that opportunity. Any electoral democracy, or rather in sound electoral democracy, generally we used to, people, they have the opportunity to compare between uh, X versus Y. But BJP, they didn't have that thing. BJP could not successfully capitalize this thing. And in this election, like even Lok Sabha election, they could not focus on their respective achievements. Whatever achievements BJP has done in the state, or even BJP has done in the country, so they could not focus properly. Rather, I will say that it was personified election campaign, like supposing one individual, one party, one group, one community, in spite of, because like supposing in the country, BJP had so strong ground, like supposing 370 was there, the Uniform Civil Code was there, or even this triple talaq was there, Ram Mandir was there. So all these strong evidence were there, strong grounds were there. So, but rather, they could not articulate those issues properly in this election, especially in Odisha also, it was not there. But one thing it helped them, that minimum support price for agricultural products, like supposing paddy, 3,100 rupees. So this percolated even to the grassroots level. So when I went to my village, rather, I asked all these people, they told that, yes, we got money from BJD also, from BJP also we have got money, but we will cast our vote for BJP because this paddy minimum support price will be more there. So like that, few things like supposing Pandian issue or this uh, foreigners issue, that yes, one thing, let me again tell it regarding supposing Odia identity. For the first time, national parties rather, they racked up this Odia identity issue, which should have been done by the regional party. BJD was supposed to raise this Odia identity issue, but it was done by BJP, and successfully they could manage to get the garner support from the public by raising this Odia identity issue. But to be very frank, no political parties, national or regional, they have any respect for Odia identity. They have their own agenda. Anyway, for the sake of election, so they were supposed to do it, and they have done it. So we don't have any issue there. And regarding the electoral outcome, three things just I will talk, and after that I think that we can come for discussion. One thing is that regarding split voting, the electoral outcome, Congress has improved its position. Last election they had only 9 MLAs, so now they have come to 14. So 5, and mostly they have done it only 2 in coastal and central Odisha, but most of the elections generally they have their seats they have won in southern part in tribal belt. Out of 14, 2, one was in Cuttack, because her candidate's father was also MLA there. So that is one. And second one is that was from coastal Odisha, that is from that Bhadrak district in coastal. And apart from that, all 12, they are from tribal dominated areas of southern parts of Odisha. So they have won that. And BJD, they also, their fortress was generally this Ganja southern Odisha. And surprisingly, in 4 districts, BJD got nil. In 4 districts, they didn't get anything. In 3 districts, they got only one seat. Like supposing Navin Patnaik, he contested from two places, one from southern Odisha, another from western Odisha. He was badly defeated in western Odisha, but he could manage to keep his seat only in southern Odisha. So like that, but apart from that, in western Odisha, in Moyurbhanj, supposing that President Murmu's district, Draupadi Murmu's district, so that was virtually BJD was completely nil there. So like that in many districts, virtually they drew blank. So all these things indicated that there were split voting, because you see, like supposing in Bhubaneswar, barring only one seat only went to BJP, assembly seat went to BJP. All other seats were taken away by BJD, but MPs had gone to BJP. And similarly, okay, BJP, supposing some people, commentators, they said that in Bhubaneswar, people are more mature, they are more politically aware, it may so happen. But you think about Western Odisha. In Bargarh district also the same thing had happened. MP seat has gone to BJP, but MLA seats, they had gone to BJD. Even one had gone to Congress also. So why it is possible? It requires further investigation. So my issue is that, is it because of the political maturity or some other extraneous factors were responsible for the split voting? That is one. Second important thing is that, as I told you, many candidates, they jumped from one party to the other in order to get the ticket, party ticket. Even prominent figures of a political party, when they found that their names are not there in that selection list, that nomination list, so generally they overnight they jumped to other party. They got the ticket from that party, contested, but many of them they have lost. So that needs to be also understood. So what happened? Why it is so? These two generally are rather the issues which requires further investigation. And my hunch is that, this is my only hypothesis, I may be wrong or right. In many cases, people generally, they could realize, see, when they were not given ticket from their respective parties, that means they got the intelligence information that they don't have much public support. But when they jumped to the other parties and managed to get the ticket, people, they were unhappy with them, they were displeased with them. So that was responsible generally for their defeat. But there are few, like supposing Bhartrihari Mahtab. So only maybe 1 week or 15 days before, so he from BJD he came to BJP, and he could manage for the seventh time. He could manage a ticket for himself, and he that seat he won the seat. So like that, there are few candidates are there, those who have successfully won after jumping from their to other parties, but their number is very less. So that means people that themselves are not very happy with the leader to whichever party they jump. So people, they rejected them. That is my hunch, but it needs further investigation and further study. And in Parliament, Lok Sabha elections, especially in Odisha, except one seat, Koraput seat, which was there, which was owned by the Congress party, and that's a tribal dominated ST constituency, and he won. And last time also he was there. So apart from him, there is all other, even BJD leaders, those who were there for such a long time, so they themselves also could not retain their seat. Even 3 times, 4 times also they were MPs, but they could not retain their seat. So because of the people's rejection of the party as such. And before finishing this, only one thing I will say, because yes, it was no doubt a satisfying election, but as a student of democracy, I find gradually this is becoming the prominent trend in Indian politics. Previously, the leaders generally they were revolving around the party, because party had some ideology, some ideas were there. Even we know that now there is virtually that ideology has been blurred. Some issues at least are there. So a party stands for some issues even. So that's why the leaders generally they revolve around the party. But now it is the reverse. All the political parties are personality based parties. Now party revolves around its leader. That is the case in Odisha also, even in India also. Any political party you can take, the same thing has happened. So people generally, they believe that, and why it is a matter of great concern. Supposing after that leader, what will happen to the party? What will happen to the organization? So these things are severe or serious concern. So this is in brief only. I'm just telling about this issue, and in case in discussion, of course, we can bring some more issues into our discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for a very interesting discussion. Debate follows now. Sanjay ji, you have appeared.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So thank you so much, sir. And you have thrown very new kind of light on Odisha, its political culture, its political landscape, and the way voters have behaved in this state. Maybe I think for research scholar this may be also attractive also. So on that backdrop, and as you have said, perhaps Pandian is the one issue which cost too much for BJP, despite getting the similar number of votes, but seat-wise, and even Naveen Patnaik lost one seat. So this shows that the voters were very much against the present dispensation. That means they were very much against the decision taken by Naveen Patnaik ji, and because of Pandian elevation to the post of second man in the party, and having no knowledge and having no communication skill in Oriya, that means the identity politics of Odisha took place in there, and that's why people of Odisha voted in favor of BJP. And as you have opined that for the first time, Odisha Manush, or you may call it the people of Odisha took the center stage. So in that scenario, uh, is it premature to say that the BJP is in a position to capture the coastal area of this country, including Bengal? And despite all its efforts, BJP is not able to capture them in Bengal. Despite that, it got 77 seats there, from 3 to 77. So the move in Bengal, but in Odisha and in Andhra and in Tamil Nadu, it's making it some kind of inroads also. In Kerala, they got first time MP there. So that means coastal areas are becoming very much fort of BJP. So can we say that we are witnessing a new kind of political journey by BJP in this country? So now I request Professor uh, Mehrotra sir and Jiten Narayan sir to say something about this electoral verdict by Odia people, and let's have a kind of interactive discussion also. So if any question you all, if you have, may kindly put it here, and Professor Satpathy sir will try to answer it. So first, Mehrotra sir, I would like to invite you first. Yes, sir. अनम्यूट करें सर, अनम्यूट कर लें, अनम्यूट कर लें जी।
Oh, yes. Now, am I audible?
हाँ सर जी।
Yes. Thank you very much. And I am very grateful to Dr. Satpathy for enlightening us on the developments, political developments at the grassroots level, as well as at the government level in Odisha. But at the same time, I find 2 points very intriguing, which he has raised in his talk. One is that bureaucracy overshadowed the government in Odisha, number one. Number two, how could he manage to connect with the people when he does not know the native language of the people of Odisha? He ruled the Odisha not for a term or two, but for a continuous period of 24 years. So how could he manage to administer the state without connecting with the people in the essence of the native language, which he did not know? And how could he run the government when the bureaucracy was overshadowing the government? These are the 2 points which intrigues my mind, and I want Dr. Sapathy to enlighten us on these 2 points further. Thank you very much.
Shall I reply, or if anyone let me reply. Let me reply, because these are
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
So see, actually, so far as the bureaucracy is concerned, as we know, generally one new building was constructed. Generally, for the secretariat building was constructed, which was known as the Lok Sabha Bhavan. And that third floor generally belongs to the Chief Minister's office. And there, Mr. Pandian generally said, because Navin Patnaik actually, he hardly goes to that office, because his residence generally is converted into his office. So he hardly goes there. So it is Mr. Pandian only who generally sits there for a longer time. And to the third floor, journalists are not allowed to enter into that building as such, and that to the third floor. No journalist they were allowed. Second important thing is that even politicians also, they generally are not allowed like that. And Mr. Navin Patnaik, he was inaccessible practically. And all these, because I know from one incident at least, because my that brother-in-law, he went there to meet Mr. Pandian. He could see that Chief Secretary of Odisha, he was sitting outside the room of Mr. Pandian, and from this glass, only from outside the glass only, he could see, and he was able to interact only with the Chief Secretary. So, and all the political decisions generally, they were taken by, if you think about the COVID, for example, in COVID time, ministers, they didn't have any role as such. People, even they hardly they knew that who is their health minister. So it was only these bureaucrats, they were giving everyday updates, and what government wants to do, what government has done, all these things was being done by that. And that is the case with all other issues also. So what happened? And most of the bureaucrats generally they are in key positions. They are non-Odia people. They are non-Odia people who were there in key positions, and there were three tier because Pandyan was there at the top. Then in the second tier, five trusted lieutenants, bureaucrats were there. Then below that, some other senior bureaucrats were there. This is how he was managing the administration. So that is one of the reasons for which even those who have got the ticket also, they were so unhappy with Mr. Pandyan that they couldn't dare to open up their mouth. Now what happened? Because no one was allowed to meet Naveen Patnaik because he stays not very far from my, just maybe 2 kilometers away from my house. I have seen because previously always these gates and barricades, they remained closed. So, and the police people they are guarding. Now everything is open. And he meets now to his party members directly without any problem. So they are directly going and meeting Naveen Patnaik now, which was not possible at all, which was unthinkable before the election. This is one answer. And second one, as you are telling about how he could see that Odia identity, which now of late it became an election issue, it was not there because all these years he was known as the son of Biju Patnaik. Naveen Patnaik was known as the son of Biju Patnaik only. And in the name of Biju Patnaik, he was ruling the state for such a long time. And second important thing, that identity, that political identity or even cultural identity, it is not that strong like Bengal. In Bengal, one of the most important reasons for the defeat of BJP is about their Bengali identity, and which they could not counter. BJP could not counter that Bengali identity there, and they are very strong opinion about that. Whatever it may be, and however bad a leader may be, but they cannot compromise on their Bengali identity. So this was not the case in Odisha. But successfully, now all political Congress as well as BJP, they harped on that. They focused on that issue, and people they reacted, but they reacted no doubt. But it was still till the election result came, people they never imagined that that will become so determining factor in winning for the BJP's electoral victory. So that was the reason. And Biju Patnaik, he was not only a Odia chauvinist, he was so daring. People generally they know Biju Patnaik as a tall figure, not only in the state but even nationally. He was a known figure. So that itself actually did the marketing for BJD for quite long time. And apart from that, there was no viable alternative. Let me tell you, because BJP in Odisha, as I told you, perhaps, so all these BJP leaders, generally they come for this press conference. They meet there in Bhubaneswar, in some important towns. They will go, may have some press conference, and they will go. They don't have any grassroots backing like BJD. BJD has a strong grassroots support. They have grassroots organization is so strong, you cannot penetrate into that. So because of that, BJD had the advantage. But even those same BJD officials and that Karyakarta, so they were thinking, no, this time at least we will not give our vote to Pandyan, because BJD means only Pandyan. And this rumor was very strong that in case supposing BJD wins, then maybe after a year or so, that chief minister will be Mr. Pandyan. That worked wonder generally for BJP.
Sir, can we infer that lingual collect is not so important as we think in the running of the administration?
It will, pardon?
My question simply, can we infer from whatever you have said that lingual connection is not important in the running of the administration?
I'm not,
If you
it's
want,
not,
if you want to run the administration of a country or a state,
yeah.
lingual collect with the people is not very important.
No, it was not there because that didn't affect this Odisha election for all these years because for these people generally, because people they thought that it's not even their own leaders also they are telling that. So you think how we are delivering, that is more important.
That's important.
So why are you thinking about the language? So he is there. He has all soft. Not only that, one good thing is that BJD, in order to counter this linguistic issue, BJD had done that in all offices there will be only Udiya language will be there. All offices there it will be reflected. Just this nameplate and everything will be in Udiya. So and Jagannath generally he was given primacy in for everything, and towards the last part of his tenure, the last 5 years. And Navin Patnaik started actually, previously he was not going to Puri at all, Jagannath temple, he was not visiting at all. So nowadays, very frequently he used to visit. So like that, they tried also their best to counter this type of linguistic identity or even this cultural identity. But this time somehow they could not succeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Uh, Now I request Professor Jitin answer. If you have any kind of question, kindly put it, sir. Unmute कर लें, sir.
Pardon?
Thank
हाँ.
you, Sanjay ji, for giving me this opportunity. Dr. Satyapathy, Professor Satyapathy has made very pertinent points to underline the election results of Odisha. That underlines the very important fact that generally people of Odisha were not in a mood to accept one person dominance, and that person from the Tamil Nadu. That was one of the very strongest regions, and it was seen by the BJP leaders. Therefore, this issue was always raised by the BJP leaders, and they succeeded in convincing people of Odisha. What Dr. Satyapathy says is that after election, if BJP wins the election, actually the chief minister will be Mr. Pandya. And people were not in a mood to receive it because this was related to the Odia identity. And moreover, he has said very rightly that he was not conversant with the Odia language. Generally, people think that person who is speaking Odia could understand our feelings and everything. And moreover, the way BJP manage things by giving Peddi, that is the one of the I think that that is the one of the crops which Odisha produces. So that was given timely, and what he has said, he has rightly said that people perceive this very well, that only BJP could do the thing which BJP has committed. And as a track record, Modi hai to mumkin hai. This message went to the people of Odia. And moreover, he has also very rightly pointed out this 5D created a havoc in the entire Odisha region, that ultimately only one person having a background of Tamil Nadu, having a background of bureaucracy. So bureaucracy was let loose in Odisha, as I have understood what he has tried to say. And in a democracy, people are not ready to accept anywhere that the bureaucracy, he has rightly pointed out that even the politics, administration and party, everything was managed by party. The one man dominance everywhere, that was not acceptable, and that has not been accepted in India. Generally, people are not ready to compromise with their liberty. So I think that what he has said, and moreover, the way they tried to counter by keeping Lord Jagannath in politics, people were also not ready for that. Local sentiment was against it to use Lord Jagannath for the purpose of politics. So he has made the very important points, and I agree with him 100% that if party is allowed to revolve around one person or leaders, that is not good for the health of the democracy. But sir, you know that generally we have adopted a political culture that is democracy. But what has been said about politics in India, yatha raja tatha praja. So this mindset of the people,
आवाज
he
कट
is
रही है
perceived
आपकी
a weak person.
आवाज कट रही है आपकी
People will never tolerate it. The people of Odisha did not accept it. And one very important point he has revealed, that the tribal area were in favor of the Congress party, because the kind of thing which was spread against BJP, that Sambidhan Balatek. If they will got 400, they will change the. So that affected the one section, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Therefore, Congress was successful in winning that area in which was dominated by the tribals. You know that BJP has done a lot of things for the tribal people. Murmu area, President Murmu area was an indication of that. But in the rest of the area, the BJP was not successful to counter this propaganda against BJP that they will take the reservation of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Therefore, I think that this was a very significant election, and every political party will think about it. And I think that overall, the result of Odisha at least assures our political system that people are taking interest and they are thinking about the area and the nation as well. So I must congratulate people. I have given who has given full analysis the Odisha taking the time consideration. Once again, I feel fortunate being the part of this entire exercise. Thank you, CSC, Sir Srivastava. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. And now I must go to Professor A.K. Verma, sir. And whatever the things which has come to the fore of us, and the conclusion we may draw as per our wishes, but what could be the future politics of India by analyzing this victory of BJP in Odisha? Sir, are you seeing any kind of sea change in the political landscape of BJP, because BJP was severely jolted in Uttar Pradesh, but getting foothold in the coastal area? And are you seeing a kind of sea change in the political discourse of this country in the next 5 years? So on that background, on that note, I invite you, sir, to throw some kind of innovative ideas on this BJP victory in Odisha. Sir, Verma, sir.
Sanjay ji, first of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to my very dear friend, Professor Satpathy, with whom we have the privilege of working at Lokniti CSDS for 2 decades almost. And also I had the privilege of visiting him when he was at Nehu, and I had the privilege of having some time with him. Very memorable time and very intimate and very friendly, our relationship was. So, first of all, I know that Professor Sarpati is so much in demand that you cannot imagine. Even today, he had one lecture just before coming to our lecture session. And I apologize because earlier our lecture was fixed for tomorrow. But because of some unfortunate incidents in Sanjayji's family, so that had to be preponed by a day today. So I'm very thankful to you, Professor Satpathy, that in spite of this last minute changes, you have been able to make it. In fact, he rang me up and said I am returning from that lecture and I'm maybe late for by a couple of minutes, but he was absolutely on time. So thank you all very much. Secondly, I also thank him for giving us uh, some ground realities and food for thought so far as the Odisha politics is concerned. I must say that Odisha has always been a puzzle to me since the days of 1990 when I visited Lord Jagannath and Gopalpur, where the university was located, and probably uh, Professor Satpathy was also there. And the kind of rush, those days were the Rath Yatra days. So people said, when you have come to this university, Gopalpur and Odisha University, why don't you visit Lord Jagannath? I had no inkling that what a crowd I am going to face over there. I had my wife, my two small children then. But we visited and it was a great pleasure, being a part of that Yatra and paying our tributes to Lord, respects to Lord Jagannath. And I found the people of Odisha so very simple. I have heard about the people of Madhya Pradesh to be very simple. But when I visited and encountered with the people had given me a very frightful picture of that. Oh, you are going to Lord Jagannath's temple, you will be cheated, you will be looted, there will be touts, this and that. Of course, there were doubts, but we were not at all looted or cheated. In fact, we were greatly helped. And when there was no accommodation in, that beautiful place around the mandir, somehow the person arranged a location for us and good location. I said, just we want to enjoy the sea, so give us some location over there. So there wasn't any kind of any problem over there in Odisha during my stay, and we greatly enjoyed visiting Konark and other places around. And since Nandini Sarpati was there at the helms of affair, we have been hearing about the Congress dominance over there in Odisha and how then this uh, uh, Kishan Patnaik, Kishan Patnaik was of course a great leader, and as Professor Sarpati was telling you all that this guy was, having a kind of uh, patronage by being the son of Kishan Patnaik. So all the uh, continuity and long tenure that you have been watching about Professor Mr. Naveen Patnaik is, as in spite of all those limitations of language and in limitations of being governed by, overwhelmed by bureaucracy or whatever outsiders, somehow that Kishan Patnaik element was always, a towering element with the people of Odisha because of his great statesmanship and the kind of a politician that he was. People hadn't forgotten and paid in, uh, paid back to his son even although for all those things his father had done. But coming to Naveen Patnaik, the point which Satpati ji raised and I'm sorry, Kumar Sahab raised is very interesting actually. And Kumar Sahab raised a point that how a man who cannot, as Professor Sarpati has said, speak Oriya properly, few sentences, because he doesn't know probably Oriya, how he can retain the top position, government position for I don't know, not once, not twice, not thrice, 4 years that he has been at a stretch, not without any break, he has been the chief minister. So analyze this thing that can only Kishan Patnaik's lineage be responsible for this, or there was some other element also to which Kumar Saab was probably hinting at, that how this lack of language was overshadowed by something else. So the Kishan Patnaik factor could be one, but the Kishan Patnaik factor could not be the only factor which could have, bailed him out of this, thing that he has no Odia knowledge and how he could connect with the Odia Asmita and all. What I feel is that it was two variables which greatly, did the magic. One was the simplicity of the people, of why I was making all those, background things, because I wanted to come to this point that because of the simplicity of the people of Odisha, as you all know, it's a very tribal dominant area, but even non-tribal people are, as Professor Satpathy, you can probably see from his face and from his entire personality, such a beautiful person, simple person, no airs, nothing. And this represents the Odia identity. And this was the reason that people continued to believe that, oh, language, communication should not be given a primacy. But then what should be given the primacy? And the primacy was the delivery system that Professor Mr. Kishan Patnaik ensured in Odia for these long 2 decades, more than 2 decades, that he might have been overshadowed by the bureaucracy. He might have been overshadowed by this gentleman, Tamil Nadu people, what his name was. What was his name?
Pandian.
Pandian. Yeah, Pandian. Pandian. He might have been overshadowed by all this. But ultimately, it is the total delivery system, what is reaching to the people, how people are getting benefited. It could be by any means, by anybody, through any mechanism. But ultimately, I feel that the delivery system was in place and the delivery system was working very well in Odisha, and that kept until this identity issue was, it cropped up, because ultimately it had to crop up. But why it did not crop for 24 years, as Kumar Saab was hitting it, is the reason that this was the identity issue, Asmita issue, language barrier issue was completely overshadowed by governance and delivery system, as Professor Sarpati was also saying that his schemes were from birth to death. There are plethora of schemes, that is welfare scheme, that people are enjoying. So all those schemes have been a problematic thing in Indian politics, Indian governance system, Indian welfare state, because the schemes in most of the states, they have been on the paper, and most of the schemes, they have been completely given a go by the middleman, by the toutism, by bribes, by brashtachar, and by so many things, that the delivery system was not in place. So my submission, or I may be wrong, I do not know, but this is my understanding of, because I haven't been following Odisha politics. What is ABCD of Odisha politics? I know it is only because of the company of Professor Satpathy when we used to talk about state politics. So every state coordinator used to talk about his state or her state. So whatever little bit of Odisha's knowledge is because of his scholarship and all, he has been writing in EPW, and I've been reading about. So one thing, this I wish that there was something which was beside the lineage of Kishan Patnaik, beside the simplicity of people of Odisha, there was also the system of governance, system of delivery. That was one. The second thing, why the question is, why then at this point of time, after 24 years, the BJP could raise this issue and not earlier? Because in the history of any state politics, if you try to locate, there would you find some watersheds. And like in Uttar Pradesh, 5th of December 1989 is the watershed, because Congress lost power and then has not been able to return to power since then. In the same way, so that's a long period. That 5th December, Mulayam Singh comes and then Congress is out. And the party was founded on anti-Congressism, and the anti-Congressism traveled from Mulayam Singh to Mayawati and to the BJP. But so far, till date, Congress has not been able to come. That is the defining line of UP's historical narration. So that is a benchmark in UP politics. In the same way, you find that in Odisha politics, the demise of Kishan Patnaik and thereafter coming of Naveen Patnaik is a watershed. That's a defining moment that this gentleman, is to be retained and given chances and chances and chances. Ultimately, when water, it flowed over the heads of the people of Odisha, because now the identity issue is such an issue that people cannot compromise on their identity. What I will like to draw a parallel in Uttar Pradesh, Satpati Bhai. What has happened in Uttar Pradesh and why the same was not happened in Madhya Pradesh? I mean, it's a very curious case. In Madhya Pradesh, you sweep 29 after 29, and in Uttar Pradesh, you lose half of your seats. What could be the reason? And that too, such a big state. The reason is that in electoral politics, we as scholars always try to suggest so many factors for victory or defeat, because that is our job. We are students. We have to find out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reasons. That you also do, that I also do, that everybody electoral politics does. But my understanding has been that out of all the issues, one issue becomes the defining issue. One issue becomes the dominant issue. One issue becomes the core issue, central issue around which all the issues they revolve. In your Odisha, Asmita became the defining and core issue this time, that now enough and no more. And the BJP got an opportunity to focus on that defining issue, because also the fact that there was a lot of anti-incumbency or lethargy or a kind of fed up with a particular regime and all, that kind of situation is also there. And as you rightly said, that the people of India in general, referring to your reduction of the Modi government and then bringing a strong opposition, your reference was to the Modi government. But at the same time, your own logic should be applied to Odisha, that the people of Odisha have been very mature, and they, after having giving a very long rope to the Naveen Patnaik, now they said that okay, full stop, now no more, enough is enough, and no regimentation, no authoritarianism, because one term, two term, three term, it brings lethargy. It brings some kind of, taken for granted kind of attitude with the people of that particular state, that the people of that should, no party should be mistaken. So your party, your state, your electorate in Odisha has given a very mature signal to the people of India and to the political parties of India that please don't take me for granted. If we have been giving you a long rope for 24 years, that doesn't mean that we will always carry on that long rope forever. And the massive way in which they have wiped out BJD and brought in BJP is a sure short signal to even Madhya Pradesh, because Madhya Pradesh also you having a repeated BJP governments. So no government, no political party can take it for granted that well, I am doing well and I am, people are happy with me. No, in the same way, I was drawing a parallel with UP, that what has happened in UP, this Char Sopar is the most important villain in the defeat of Mr. Modi in Uttar Pradesh or Mr. Yogi in Uttar Pradesh. Because It is my sincere conviction that 400 pass was absolutely a bogus proposition when you can do with 300 par. Why you wanted 400 par? 300 par, you were already there. If you would have said, we'll improve or retain our position, we'll improve our position, that's very fine. But when you said 400 par without any rationale and without any logic, then it created a fear in the mind of the people, which opposition parties capitalized. That, oh, these people, they wanted 400 par only because they want to demolish the constitution of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and by demolishing the constitution, they want to end the reservation. So by demolishing the constitution, an emotional onslaught on the Dalits, and by reservation, an emotional onslaught on both the OBCs and the Dalits. So why the OBCs and the Dalits, which had been separated right from 1995, the guest house incident in Lucknow, if you remember, where Mayawati was tried to be burned by the Samajwadi Party people. Since then, it was thought that Mayawati and Mulayam will never come to terms. Akhilesh and Mayawati will never come to terms, and that was demonstrated. That was demonstrated when they Bua and Babua came together. Nothing happened. But this time, this 400 Park disturbed the psychology of both these major social denominations, and they came together. And the Dalits, they have voted for the SP. The Dalits, their first preference used to be Mayawati, and if they not, then they used to vote for the BJP. But this is for the first time that instead of voting the BJP, they have gone the Samajwadi Party, and the results for all of us to see. So, and 90% Yadavs have voted. The MY combination has come in a big way in Uttar Pradesh. So, what they have done is, in spite of the fact that Muslim consolidation used to be there in Uttar Pradesh, but the defining thing is that in spite of hundreds of issues which we can cite, that this has been the cause of BJP's defeat and their victory, the defining element is 400 par, and the ruling dispensation not been able to provide any rationale why 400 par. Why not 300 par only is sufficient? अपने यहाँ कहा जाता है ना कि कम खाओ गम खाओ, तो कम खाओ 300 में तो हम बहुत कम खा रहे थे और गम खा रहे थे और मस्ती से शासन चला रहे थे. Why I wanted 400 par, that I never explained to the people of Uttar Pradesh, because you see, if this has been a national narrative, then why MP, why Assam, why Himachal, why Uttarakhand, why you have Delhi, why you have Jharkhand, why you have Chhattisgarh, why you have 10, 12 states completely where BJP swept. So I am very sure that 400 par was not a national narrative, but Akhilesh and Rahul duo, they made this a UP narrative, UP specific narrative. It became a Maharashtra narrative also, and this was a defining narrative that changed the entire scenario of Uttar Pradesh, and consequently the BJP lost unnecessarily. Had they come khao gum khao policy, then would have jolly well nobody would have been able to fire a salvo on them that they will change the constitution and end the reservation. So in the same way, in your case, the Asmita is always an emotional issue. So they touched the emotional issue, and that's why the people. So Kumar Saab, I think you raised a very pertinent point. I'm sure if you are not satisfied, you will certainly make a pointer. The second thing, and that is the last thing that I wish to say. The second thing is that Professor Satpathy made a very, important, hypothesis, and I would certainly like to comment on that. And his hypothesis was that formerly leaders revolved around the party because party had ideologies. But now it is the reverse. Today, party revolves around the leaders. This is your hypothesis. If I am mistaken, then correct me. So what I could understand, that is what you said. Satpathy Bhai, tell me, was a leader was not an important phenomena, not an important issue. It started with Nehru. Nehru continued to rule the roost for 14 long years. And thereafter, see the lineage, forget about the small comers and goers. Indira Gandhi. Indira is India, India is Indira. Then comes of course, the sympathy, lineage of India's assassination and thereafter. So even if you go to back to the BJP, the entire leadership of the BJP, in spite of the fact of ideology, was not able to give the BJP the kind of political weight that it deserved. Of course, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani, they are only two faces known in the leadership position, and they made all the difference to the BJP. But come 2014 and tell me this gentleman suddenly appears from Gujarat on the national scene and he changed the entire narrative. And in spite of that ideological existence, even before, what a change has come only by one person. That entire party revolved around that particular person since 2014. So my humble submission is that because you said it is by hypothesis, and naturally, if it is a hypothesis, then we, as a student, you have given us a fruit today. I mean, an important fruit, I should say, to food for thought. That we should think about this. That if this is a hypothesis, then how far this hypothesis can be accepted and not accepted. So my at the moment, a knee-jerk reaction is that Indian politics had always been personality centric. The political parties, notwithstanding their ideology and all, they also had been personality centric, whether it be the Congress or the Second National Party, that is the BJP. And the latest being the example that in spite of the entire ideological and paraphernalia of organization and all, it's the Modi factor which has, made the party revolve around the individual, and it is not the other way around. So please enlighten us on this, that if I am right or wrong, and uh, correct me if you think this is the wrong interpretation of your hypothesis. So I thank you very much, all of you. It is always a great pleasure to be in the company of learned friends, and I've greatly learned about the Odisha politics by your presentation today. So thank you very much, and thank you, Jiten Bhai, very much. Thank you, Kumar sir, very much. Thank you. Dharmendra.
धन्यवाद सर। एक बहुत ही शानदार विमर्श रहा है आज हम लोगों का उड़ीसा पॉलिटिक्स पे, और न केवल उड़ीसा पॉलिटिक्स पे अगर हम देखें तो हम लोगों ने सैद्धांतिकीकरण करने का भी प्रयास किया सर के माध्यम से। एक हाइपोथेसिस भी जनरेट हुई और फाइनली उस हाइपोथेसिस पर भी थोड़ी सी चर्चा भी करी सर ने। इन सारी चीजों के इतर अगर मैं कहूँ कि सर अकेले पूरे के पूरे जब सर बोल रहे थे तो बस ऐसा लग रहा था कि ये सर पूरी तरह से उड़ीसा को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हो, और इतना बड़ा चेंज हुआ है 24 साल के। अगर हम इतिहास में देखें तो भारत में दूसरा ही मुख्यमंत्री है जो 24 साल का टेन्योर पूरा कर पाता है, और इतना बड़ा चेंज हुआ है। सर ने खुद भी उसको साइलेंट रिवॉल्यूशन कहा था अपने लेक्चर में, और इतने बड़े साइलेंट रिवॉल्यूशन के बाद भी सर का जो प्रस्तुतिकरण था, जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन था अपने आप में उड़ीसा को लेके, वो इतना पोलाइट था कि बिल्कुल ऐसा लग ही नहीं रहा था कि किसी के जीत की चर्चा हो रही है, किसी के हार की चर्चा हो रही है। बस ऐसा लग रहा था कि पूरे के पूरी उड़ीसा के पॉलिटिक्स पे एक ऐसे लिखा जा रहा है, एक आदमी बोल रहा है और हम लोग उसको लिख सकते हैं। बहुत सारी चीजें सर ने कहा। सैद्धांतिक रूप से भी सर ने इशारों में बहुत सारी चीजों को डिनायल किया। सर ने कहा कि अगर सर की बात पे हम आए तो हमको लगता है कि फाइनली ये डिनायल है, उड़ीसा का जनादेश एक तरह से डिनायल है। ये बताता है कि भारत में राजनीति जो है वो राजनीतिज्ञों के खेलने की चीज हो सकती है, नौकरशाहों की गणित की चीज नहीं हो सकती। भारत की जनता या भारत के किसी भी प्रदेश की जनता नौकरशाहों को उनके हद में स्वीकार करती है। नौकरशाही जब भी कभी राजनीति पर हावी होना चाहती है तो ये जनता स्वीकार नहीं करती, और उड़ीसा कहीं ना कहीं इस बात का उदाहरण बनता है। सर के पूरे प्रेजेंटेशन में नवीन पटनायक की हार नहीं थी, सर के पूरे प्रेजेंटेशन में बीजेपी की जीत नहीं थी, सर के पूरे प्रेजेंटेशन में एक ऐसा आदमी जो कहीं ना कहीं से घुसा हुआ है और वो पूरे राजनीति को डिटरमाइन करना चाहता है, राजनीति को निर्धारित करना चाहता है। लोगों का डिनायल है उस आदमी के प्रति, और उस इस प्रवृत्ति का डिनायल है। हम ये नहीं कहेंगे कि इस एक पांड्यन का डिनायल है, हम तो ये कहेंगे कि ये भारत की राजनीति में ऐसी प्रवृत्ति का डिनायल है जहां कहीं भी कोई नौकरशाह अपने आप को राजनीतिज्ञों पर से ऊपर होने का प्रयास करता है। ये केवल वहीं की बात नहीं है सर, हम अपने उत्तर प्रदेश में भी देखेंगे अगर, तो जब हम गंभीरता से उत्तर प्रदेश की राजनीति में इस बार की बीजेपी की हार के कारणों पर चर्चा करेंगे, तो हमको भी ये कारण कहीं ना कहीं से दिखाई देगा कि हम लीडरशिप के लेवल पर तो नहीं, लेकिन लोकल रूट के लेवल पे हम ये देखेंगे कि जो लोकल लीडरशिप होती है वो कहीं ना कहीं डिनायल की स्थिति में है, और वो कहीं ना कहीं प्रभावहीन होती जा रही है, और लोकल जो ब्यूरोक्रेसी है वो हावी है। आज अभी हमारे अखबारों में है कि स्वयं फैजाबाद, अयोध्या की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ, अयोध्या के हनुमानगढ़ी के महंत और अयोध्या के डीएम में ठनी हुई है, और हमारी सरकार डीएम के साथ खड़ी है। आज वहां के महंत को अपना सफाई देना पड़ रहा है। तो जब भी इस तरह की प्रवृत्ति आएगी तो भारत की जनता शायद नौकरशाही का फेवर नहीं करेगी, अपने राजनीतिकों का फेवर करेगी, वो चाहे जिसके फेवर में भी हो। दूसरी एक चीज की तरफ आपने सर इशारा किया जिस पर चर्चा नहीं हुई, फ्रेंडली फाइट की। तो राजनीति में जब अश्वमेध चल रहा हो एक पार्टी का, तो उस समय फ्रेंडली फाइट के लिए कोई जगह नहीं होती। ये उड़ीसा ने भी साबित किया है, और कहीं ना कहीं उत्तर प्रदेश ने भी साबित किया है बीएसपी के स्थिति में, कि इस तरह के राजनीति के दौर में कहीं भी हमें इस बात के लिए स्पेस नहीं मिलता कि हम फ्रेंडली फाइट करें और सरवाइव भी कर जाएं। वो दोनों चीजें एक साथ नहीं हो पाएंगी। आ, सर ने जिस तरह से उड़ीसा की पॉलिटिक्स के बहाने पूरे भारत की राजनीति पर नजर डाला, अपना प्रस्तुतिकरण दिया, जिन सहज शब्दों में दिया और जिस सहज भाव के साथ दिया, मैं अभिभूत हूँ। मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ सतपति सर को। मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ सतीश सर को। उन्होंने एक ऐसा सवाल उठाया जो सबके जेहन में उठता है। 24 साल किस कोई व्यक्ति मुख्यमंत्री रहे और उसके बाद अचानक से ये कहा जाए कि उसे उड़िया नहीं आती, इसलिए ये मुद्दा है। तो मैं तो इसका पलट के ये सवाल पूछना चाह रहा था कि सर, ये उड़िया नहीं आती ये सवाल नहीं है, इस 24 साल उनके राज करने का कारण क्या था? बेसिकली 89 की पॉलिटिक्स के बाद अगर हम देखें तो एक जो लीडरशिप पैदा हुई थी 89 के दौर में, उसमें से एकमात्र व्यक्ति जो नेता पुत्रों में थे, रामकृष्ण हेगड़े, बीजू पटनायक, लालू प्रसाद यादव, अखिलेश यादव, बहुत सारे लोगों के पुत्रों ने राजनीति का दारोमदार लिया, राजनीति को उत्तराधिकार में पाया, लेकिन सक्सेस बहुत कम लोग हो पाए। एक एक बार तो मौका सबको मिला, लेकिन सक्सेस किसी को मिला नहीं उस तरह से जिस तरह से नवीन पटनायक को मिला था। तो 24 साल लगातार शासन करना और उसके बाद इस तरह की परिस्थिति उत्पन्न होना, तो सर पूरा मंच अभिभूत है। जितेंद्र सर ने जिस तरह से अपनी बात रखी, और एक चीज मैं कहूंगा अभी भी कि कहीं ना कहीं अंतर होता है एग्रेसिवनेस में और पोलाइटनेस में। जितेंद्र सर ने एक शब्द यूज किया था कि प्रोपेगंडा, और उसी शब्द को सर ने जब अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में रखा, वर्मा सर ने, तो सर ने कहा कि कैपिटलाइज किया 400 पार के इशू को एक तरह से प्रोपेगेंडा बनाया गया था। तो जितेंद्र सर, जो महसूस किया, सर के साथ एक दिन हमारी बात भी हो रही थी और मैंने सर से पूछा भी, ये बहुत लंबे समय बाद, काफी लंबे सालों बाद ये इतिहास का एक सा चुनाव लिखा जाएगा जिस चुनाव में कैंपेन ने चुनाव की टैली को निर्धारित किया है। चुनाव के पहले 3 महीने 4 महीने पहले चुनाव बिल्कुल दूसरे तरह का दिखाई दे रहा था। जैसा कि सतपति सर ने कहा कि उड़ीसा में तो 1 महीने पहले भी चुनाव दूसरे तरह का दिखाई दे रहा था, और कैंपेन ने चुनाव के पूरे गणित को परिवर्तित कर दिया, और परिणाम हमारे सामने है। तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बहुत सारी चीजों पर बात किया जा सकता है। जिस सहजता के साथ आप लोग अपनी बातों को रख लेते हैं, हम लोग तो बस यही मन में आता है कि हम लोग उसका शतांश भी अगर एब्जॉर्ब कर पाए, अगर उस रास्ते को समझ पाए, तो ये हम लोगों के लिए बहुत बड़े सौभाग्य की बात होगी और हम लोगों के लिए पूंजी होगी। आप लोगों को सुनना सर, ये हम लोगों का भाग्य है कि हम लोग आपके साथ बैठ के सुनने को का अवसर मिलता है। आप लोगों को सुनने का मतलब कि हम सीधे सीधे एनसाइक्लोपीडिया से चीजों को ग्रहण कर रहे हैं। हम अभिभूत हैं और बहुत ही आभारी हैं कि आप लोग अभी भी वक्त निकाल पाते हैं। शतपति सर ने वक्त निकाला, केवल वक्त ही नहीं निकाला बल्कि सर के आग्रह पर एक दिन पहले किया प्रोग्राम को। अपना प्रोग्राम होते हुए भी तुरंत उपस्थित हुए। मैं CSSP की तरफ से आपके प्रति आभार ज्ञापित करूंगा। सतीश सर, इस वय में भी जब भी हम लोगों का आग्रह होता है आप उपस्थित होते हैं। मैं आपके प्रति विनम्रता ज्ञापित करता हूँ CSSP की तरफ से, अपनी तरफ से। जितेंद्र सर को मैं अपनी तरफ से आभार नहीं ज्ञापित करूंगा। अब तो अपना भार ट्रांसफर हम लोग कर देते हैं कभी कभी जितेंद्र सर। आज थोड़ा सा विलंब हो रहा था तो मैंने सोचा कि सबसे अच्छा यही है कि मैं जितेंद्र सर को फोन करूं और कहूं कि सर आप 2 मिनट पहले जुड़ जाइए। आप बैठे रहेंगे तो हम लोगों को साहस रहेगा। तो ऐसे जितेंद्र सर हम लोगों के लिए एक संरक्षक की भूमिका में है। आपकी उपस्थिति हम लोगों को साहस देती है, हम लोगों को ये भाव देती है कि हम लोग कुछ भी करने की स्थिति में रहेंगे। बाकी संजय सर, उनकी माता जी नहीं रही, कल उनके यहाँ प्रोग्राम है, ब्रह्मभोज है, इसके बावजूद भी उपस्थित हुए। जितेंद्र सर ने उनको पहले ही कह दिया था कि इसको कहते हैं कमिटमेंट। मैं उनके प्रति भी आभार ज्ञापित करता हूँ। और फाइनली सर के प्रति समर्पित होते हुए, बहुत सामान्य परिस्थिति नहीं है आज सर की भी। सर आज डायलिसिस का दिन था। मैम आई हैं, सर को आप लोग भी देख रहे होंगे बार बार जा रहे हैं। तो बहुत सामान्य परिस्थिति नहीं है, इसके बावजूद भी सर बैठे, सर ने वक्त दिया। सर के प्रति पूरी कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हुए मैं पूरे मंच को प्रणाम करता हूँ। अर्चना में हमें बना।
धर्मेंद्र जी, कंक्लूड करने से पहले एक दो वाक्य हम कहना चाहेंगे, अगर आपकी
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
अनुमति हो तो।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल।
सबसे बड़ी बात है कि एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट प्रोफेसर सत्यपति जी ने कही थी, वो छूट गया था, हम उसको अंडरलाइन नहीं कर पाए थे।
जी जी।
और वो ऐसा पॉइंट है जो कि भारतीय राजनीति में सबको उस पॉइंट को समझने की जरूरत है, जो डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर सत्यपति जी ने बताया।
जी।
कल्चर, हर स्टेट का कल्चर, पॉलिटिकल
अपना
कल्चर अलग है। और जैसा कि प्रोफेसर वर्मा हमारे मित्र हैं, मैं भी गया था उड़ीसा, वहां जाने का मुझको भी मौका मिला। पॉलिटिकल साइंस का कॉन्फ्रेंस के क्रम में ही हम गए थे वहाँ। था वो मद्रास में, लेकिन गए थे उड़ीसा। देखिए, वहां के लोगों के बारे में प्रोफेसर सतपथी जी ने जो बताया वो बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। एक, और वर्मा जी ने, सिंपल लोग वहां के हैं, बहुत ही सिंपल लोग। और उससे भी बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है कि कास्ट। आप यूपी की चर्चा हम लोग कर रहे थे, बंगाल की चर्चा का भी क्रम आया, तो आप देखिएगा कि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट और वैलिड पॉइंट है इन ऑर्डर टू एनालाइज द इलेक्शन रिजल्ट्स। वहां कास्ट और जो कॉमनल कार्ड है वो वहां प्ले नहीं करता, नहीं किया है, नहीं करता। और जहां जहां सिंपल लोग होंगे, वर्मा सर ने भी जो बात कही, सिंपल लोग होंगे, उन लोगों ने देखा कि भाई जब ऐसा चल रहा है तो एक बार बदल करके देखने में क्या दिक्कत है, ये सिंपल आदमी ही कर सकता है। दूसरी बात है कि कास्ट नहीं है वहां, पॉलिटिक्स में उस तरह का रोल प्ले करता है, कॉम्युनलिज्म नहीं प्ले करता है। तो उसके बाद ही ऐसा रिजल्ट हो सकता है। ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है भारतीय राजनीति को समझने की, कि जहां ये फैक्टर्स होते हैं वहां क्या हो जाता है। और आपने कहा धर्मेंद्र जी, आप बहुत प्यार भी करते हैं, बहुत सम्मान करते हैं। आपने कहा कि वर्मा सर में और मुझ में तो अंतर है ही और रहेगा ही। वो एडिटर थे तब मैंने लिखना शुरू किया, इतना अंतर तो रह जाएगा। दूसरी बात है कि मैं फिर भी ये कहना चाहूंगा कि मैंने कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट नहीं किया था, क्योंकि मेरा रिसर्च भी है प्रोपेगेंडा का क्या होता है। जब हम कोई बात कहते हैं उसका आधार नहीं है, उसी को धर्मेंद्र जी प्रोपेगेंडा कहते हैं। और कहीं से भी राजनीति शास्त्र के विद्यार्थी के नाते कोई एग्री नहीं करेगा, दुनिया कोई एग्री नहीं करेगी, जबकि संविधान हमारा है, संविधान के अनुकूल हमारा देश चल रहा है। और संविधान के मौलिक ढांचे में परिवर्तन नहीं किया जा सकता है, इसका गार्जियन सुप्रीम कोर्ट है। तो कोई कैसे संविधान बदल देगा, पलट देगा, रिजर्वेशन खत्म कर देगा? इसका न कोई कल आधार था, न आज कोई आधार है, इसलिए प्रोपेगेंडा था। आगे की बात मैं नहीं कह सका, क्योंकि आपने समय हमको दिया था। और ये काम वर्मा सर से बेहतर तो शायद कोई कर ही नहीं सकता है। चेस जब खेलते हैं तो हम देखते हैं, कट जाते हैं, चल देते हैं, लेकिन ये नहीं देखते हैं कि दूसरा विरोधी हमारे गोटी को उठाएगा कि नहीं उठाएगा, मारेगा कि नहीं मारेगा। आपने 400 पार कह करके फंस गया, कहा कि आपने आगे का चाल नहीं समझा कि साहब विरोधी इसका कैसे उपयोग कर सकते हैं, काउंटर कैसे कर सकते हैं। और उन लोगों ने जो काउंटर किया है, केवल उन्हीं की बुद्धि नहीं है। सबको मालूम है कि इलेक्शन पूरे विश्व के दृष्टि पटल पर ये था, और सारे फैक्टर्स उसमें लगे हुए थे। हम ये नहीं कह रहे किसके पक्ष किसके विपक्ष में, समझने समझने की बात। तो ये कहाँ तैयार होता है, कहाँ रॉ मटेरियल कहाँ से आता है, उसको कैसे बनाया जाता है, और हर जगह इसका प्रयोग कितना धूमधाम से किया गया, काउंटर नहीं कर सका। वर्मा सर ने ठीक कहा, काउंटर नहीं कर सके, लेकिन वो प्रोपेगेंडा ही था धर्मेंद्र जी, कोई हार्ड वर्ड का प्रयोग नहीं किया। क्योंकि बचपन में सर लोग जब तक नहीं आए थे, हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, पिताजी ने कहा था कि शब्द ब्रह्म है, उसका दुरुपयोग नहीं करने का, और नुक्ता के हेर फेर से खुदा से जुदा हो जाता है। वर्मा सर ने जो कहा वो बिल्कुल सही कहा, और वही कह सकते हैं। वो एडिटर रहे तो हम लिखना एबीसीडी शुरू किए थे, रिसर्च आर्टिकल, तो उन्होंने ठीक कहा, लेकिन मैंने गलत नहीं कहा था। हम वो डाउन नहीं कर रहे हैं, काइंडली हमको माफ किया जाएगा।
हर
थैंक
बार
यू
सर
वेरी
आपसे
मच।
हर बार सर आपसे क्षमा मांगना पड़ता है, लेकिन
अरे
तो मुझे लगता है
नहीं,
कि क्षमा
अरे नहीं भाई,
क्षमा बड़ी
नहीं।
चाहिए। छोटन को उत्पाद, जब जब मैं कुछ कुछ कहता हूँ तो और ज्यादा क्लैरिफिकेशन आता है, तो अच्छा लगता है सर। मैंने कल्चर की
आपने
ही
ये
बात
नहीं
करी
कहा
थी
कि
सर, मैंने
अरे
आपने ये
इतनी
नहीं कहा कि
इतनी
आपने
विनम्रता।
प्रोपेगेंडा की कितनी बढ़िया डेफिनेशन दी है।
अच्छा अच्छा,
कॉन्सेप्ट
धर्मेंद्र जी, इतनी
प्रोपेगेंडा को
विनम्रता आप कहाँ से
कॉन्सेप्चुअली
लाते हैं,
कितना
थोड़ा
क्लियर
हमको भी
किया
सिखा
है।
दीजिएगा।
नहीं, मैंने
धर्मेंद्र
कल्चरल रिप्रेजेंटेशन की ही बात करी थी सर, कि मैंने सतपथी सर को ही उड़ीसा के कल्चर का रिप्रेजेंटेशन मान लिया था। और जिस सहजता के साथ सर ने अपनी बात रखी, उतनी ही सहजता के साथ उड़ीसा के लोगों ने परिवर्तन कर दिया, और सर ने उसको कहा कि ये साइलेंट रिवोल्यूशन था। मैंने इतनी ही बात करी थी सर। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का। आप सभी जुड़े। हम लोग पुनः जुड़ेंगे जल्दी ही किसी और प्रोग्राम में। और इस तरह से एक यूट्यूब पे भी है, ये प्रोग्राम चलता रहेगा। हम लिंक भेजेंगे सबके साथ, सबको शेयर करेंगे। सब लोग सुनेंगे उसको। समय बहुत हो गया आज, मैं अब बिल्कुल डिस्टर्ब नहीं करना चाहूंगा। आप सभी को प्रणाम करते हुए विदा लेना चाहूंगा। सभी को बहुत बहुत प्रणाम।
सब लोगों को इकट्ठे
थैंक यू
प्रणाम
सतपति भाई,
नमस्कार।
थैंक यू
धर्मेंद्र
वेरी
जी,
मच, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
धर्मेंद्र जी,
बहुत
इतनी
मजा आ
विनम्रता
गया।
धर्मेंद्र जी आप कहाँ से लाते हैं, हम समझ नहीं पाते हैं। थोड़ा बहुत हमको भी
हाँ,
सिखाइए गुर थोड़ा।
अरे
to
सर सर सर।
be
थैंक यू
amidst you
वेरी
all.
मच, बहुत अच्छा लगा। थैंक यू,
Thank you. Thank you.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।